Right, okay, welcome back. I'm here with my good friend Thomas Felix Creighton from Fleming Never Dies. How are you doing today, Thomas?
All good,
Great.
Thank you.
So we're going to try and wrap up in a tight 10 minutes what we thought of the first episode of Road to a Million. We just came out of a screening down in Wimbledon. So first off, Thomas, going into this, did you have any feelings, anxieties? Were you excited? What was your emotion going into the screening?
So my feeling was, is this going to be like, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here, I've seen Big Brother, so I was wondering if it's kind of going to be that kind of TV, which isn't my kind of thing.
Right, yeah, so it's not my kind of TV either.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of apprehension going into seeing this. I was trying to put that to the back of my mind, and I wanted an open mind. I actually really wanted to like it, because I do like being proved wrong a lot of the time. So a couple of good positives. The screening was really good.
Yeah.
The atmosphere in the cinema was brilliant. We think there were even family members, because there was cheering, there was genuine laughter throughout. I would say throughout the entire hour, which I've not experienced before in a cinema, like a kind of a real community sense. Like we're all just watching TV at home, but so that was brilliant. I really enjoyed that. I did think that the hour was just long enough.
Yes, yeah.
So we had the choice at the screening that we went to. They were going to play another episode. They did a little teaser, like a cliffhanger ending, and then they went straight into the second episode, and we both looked at each other, and I think we wanted to, we signed off. We're good enough. 1 hour of reality TV is pretty... But so that kind of asks the question, do you think that this is something that you would binge at home? Would you chomp your way through something like this?
If it was late, I was wrapped in a duvet, on the sofa, maybe my feet up, maybe some whiskey or vodka martini, I could fall asleep in front of at least 3 episodes.
Right, but you would fall asleep at minute 10 and then the episodes would just play on. Right, okay. That's cool. So I do want to say some positive things, and then maybe I'll just give a quick critique. So positive things, it's well shot, it's well produced. So I'm glad that production value, I think that's where you can see the Eon fingerprints. I think there was a quality control check that had to be met here, and I think that was met.
Yeah.
The music, so you mentioned before, David Arnold's name comes up in the credits.
For a special theme tune.
And he had an interesting, a different take on the Bond theme. I'd like to hear that again and kind of get used to that a bit more. But the music throughout, they take lifts from the different films, from Casino Royale, No Time to Die. So there's always little signature points that kind of get you into that, I know where I am in here now. Like when you go to Venice, for example, you have that lilting strings from Casino Royale.
Where it comes up with Montenegro, with Venice, okay.
Yeah, it's the jury's out on that one, we don't know what's going on there. So music's great, landscape's great, contestants likable.
Yeah, I think very, very likable. We had a couple of brothers and a couple of sisters, both competing through different challenges, and I thought they were very likable.
Yeah, very likable. And like I say, I think we had the family members in the audience, and they were both, the sisters and the brothers were well received.
Yeah,
I believe. Yeah, so laughs throughout. And I'm gonna say that at the end, they had the sisters went out of the competition, and I would say I actually genuinely felt a bit sorry for them.
Yeah, and for me, I was actually genuinely surprised, because I was slightly wondering if there'd be a producer there kind of prodding them one way or giving a shake of the head behind the camera, but they were allowed to complete the activity as they saw fit.
Yeah. So I think that overall the show had done well, because it drew me in enough to... I wouldn't say I cared. I mean, I didn't give that much of a shit, but I did feel like when they got the answer wrong, I was like, a bit sad. So, look, still not into reality TV. I'm still not interested in watching complete strangers agonise over multiple choice questions, especially for $5,000.
And some of them were straightforward trivia, which, when you're comfortable and the camera's not on you, are quite easy.
Yeah.
Admittedly, so if you've been exhausted from physical activities all day, you've got cameras on you, and it's worth something, right? It's worth thousands of pounds. That's very different. Right?
Yeah.
When you're watching them agonising over some of these.
Yeah. I would say what I did enjoy about it is that they weren't kind of exploiting the locations for its luxuries. Like, we didn't go to Venice, for example, and go around St. Mark's Square and go on what do they call them, gondolas. So, there was no one like drinking wine in the restaurants and going, oh, you've got to come here. So it didn't feel like I was envious of the situations, or like I was just watching complete strangers having a great time on holiday. Yeah. So I think they've negated that element of it very well. Would you say?
Yeah, and it wasn't too on the nose of how to make a vodka martini or whether you should have too much toast with caviar or whatever.
That's a really good point, and I think we said this just on the way out, that there's very little Bondian stuff in there, so there was certainly no Bond chit-chat.
No.
It felt to me like a mix, aside, if you put the music aside and the locations, you have a mix of Die Hard 3, and you've seen the Die Hard 3?
So long ago.
So the suitcases and the riddles and the Jeremy Irons and Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis have to solve things by opening up suitcases, and it was like, it became, for me, I had like echoes of that. And a little bit of, is it Challenge Annika? Like when you're like running around like, we need to find the clues, there's only like 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
So there was bits of that all meshed in, but there was no casual Bond chit chat. Like they're not kind of exploring the mountains and asking, who's your favourite Bond girl or anything like that. And I think if they had done that, it would have been very forced.
Yeah, and equally they don't cut out pictures of either Craig or Roger Moore in Venice. They don't actually explain it. So if you know, but if you haven't seen those films,
that's a really good point. Yeah, so there's enough for the geeks, maybe not enough, but. Like for example, when David Arnold's name came up, I was like, that was actually a good beat for me to hit.
It's good to know that Eon still has his number and still uses it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, how long are we in? Right, 6:50. So on that though, it must be quite strange for David Arnold to get these phone calls, right? I thought about this when he did the music for the Peel advert, right? When they first did their first launch, he did a really nice little 2-minute jingle. So when Eon have to call him, it's Barbara on the phone. Oh, Barbara, I've got something for you. Like, what is it? Can you do a 2-minute jingle for him? Like, okay, sure, but what about, Bond 24, Bond 25? No?
Yeah.
Right. The same with this, like, Barbara's on the phone again. What is it? It's a reality TV show. Like, fuck.
Anyway. So the real reality TV show should be about David Arnold.
Yes, David Arnold by the phone. David Arnold by the phone. It's not Barbara, no. But, sorry, okay. Sidebar. Couple of minutes left. Let's talk about Brian Cox real quick. I was looking forward to seeing what Brian Cox would be doing here. I don't know if I really got anything from Brian Cox. I kind of, I'm on board with the idea that there's some kind of villainous mastermind, and that maybe fits in with the framework of Bond. I don't know if there was really any point for him to be there.
It's a bit like in Taskmaster, where you've got the comedian Greg Wallace giving people tasks, but then his friend goes out to run them. So it reminded me of that. I'm sure he had a fabulous day or two of filming, and it's lovely to see him doing his thing. I'm not sure if it's an audition for a Bond villain or an M or what.
Another one by the phone. It's Barbara! Yes, it's Brian. Can you come on a reality TV? Like, fuck! Much better idea for reality TV shows. Are people that get phone calls from Barbara Broccoli, and it's nothing to do with Bond films. I think you mentioned as well, there's moments when you watch Brian Cox doing this and you just can't help but think he must have nailed this in a day. He must have just done this like in the morning, lickety split, everything else, the TVs are green screened afterwards. So it had that feel about it.
Yeah.
And which is, I don't know, I wasn't really expecting anything from Brian Cox per se, but I guess maybe there's more of him in the
maybe a fist fight with him at the end.
Yeah, maybe there's some kind of big boss duel with him and the contestants on episode 10. Right, Thomas, 1 minute left. I would say if I wasn't creating content around Bond and the world of Bond, that this would be the sort of thing that I would watch again, like episode 2. If it's on, maybe. But as I'm kind of in the world and have my toes in the puddles of Bond, I will watch it. What about you? How do you sit with that?
I think next time I catch a cold, I might wrap myself in blankets and watch a few episodes, see how many I can get through. It was fun to watch.
And then go back and watch Taskmaster on the other side.
Yeah.
Or Yesminster.
Yesminster, yes.
Loves Yesminster.
I do.
Alright, brilliant. Listen, Thomas, thanks for coming around. Just to give you an idea, we did this in the kitchen that's being ripped apart. We're looking after Roger, that's on the floor there. And Thomas is looking stunning as always. What are you wearing, Thomas?
I am wearing a vintage double-breasted blazer, which I got at a charity shop, half price because no one else fit it.
Fantastic. It looks a trip on you, Forrest.
Thank you very much.
Thomas Felix Creighton, Fleming Never Dies, newsletters, YouTube, podcast, links in the notes below. Brilliant. Oh. Kushti.